Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live. And I know I said an hour ago, but you know what? Better late than never. And most importantly, sometimes uh, the best things require a little bit of waiting. And I'm telling you, you guys are not going to be disappointed in today's guest because she is absolutely amazing. She is so smart and so well rounded in this business. It's just amazing. So, today on a conversation with Floyd Marshall, I am honored to have Kanithea Powell. And I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about her because there is so much, we would be here all day. But just a little bit about Miss Powell. Kanithea started her career as one of the founding members of the Orlando Black Theater, the first African American theater company in Orlando, Florida. And there she directed, produced, and performed in several plays before moving to Atlanta and starting a career as a television producer for a local TV station. In Atlanta, she formed Quest Films Network and dove headfirst into the world of film, finding Juliet accepted into 28 film festivals, winner for Best Short Film, 2 minutes, 2 seconds, winner for Best Screenplay, for Sale, winner for Best Short Film, Humanity, winner for Best Short Film, Best Makeup and Wardrobe, Best Editing, and is still on the festival film run.
Yeah.
Now, that's just some of the film stuff. She is also a best-selling author of Never Judge a Butch by Her Cover. She is the founder of Quest Films and QFN TV. The lady has her own streaming platform. And she's a TEDx speaker. So there is just so much going on with Miss Kanithea Powell, and it's just an honor to have you on the show. So, Miss Powell, welcome to a conversation with What's Going On.
Hey, thank you so much, Floyd. That was, I don't know, that was an amazing person you were talking about earlier. That was pretty awesome. So I was like, oh, I did all that. Oh, that's amazing. So very kind, and thank you. That's very kind. Yeah.
Well, you know, the beauty of it is it's all true, but that just speaks to your journey and where you've gone in order to have arrived at this particular point. So let's go back. How did all of this start?
Oh, wow. So I give all of this to my mom because my mom was a writer. You know, growing up in Eatonville, Florida, the oldest Black-owned and operated city in the country. I like to say that because that's my town. And that's important because we're one of the only Black-owned and operated cities that are still in existence today. You know, we're not underwater or anything. So that's always good. But I give it to my mom. My mom was a writer. She showed me the most important things about being a creative. My mother would come in our house, sit at our dining room table with her typewriter, and yes, I'm aging myself now, with her typewriter and her glass of water or coffee and her notebook and her glasses. She would not move until she had created a piece of art that she was satisfied with. So that taught me discipline. It taught me not to move from a space until you are able or you are pleased with the thing that you're creating, you know. So grateful for her for that. And then watched her transition into performing it. Now that was amazing because when Juanita Powell spoke, nobody turned away. And I am just copying everything my mom did. Basically, I sound exactly like my mother.
Wow.
I perform and drop little, just like my mother. You know, um, she was my idol in a way. She was so beautiful. When I saw her at my young 6, 7 year old self, I knew I wanted to do and be that. So I paid attention to everything that she did and how she chose to engage her audience. So with that, you know, I wrote a couple plays when I was like 14 or 15 years old, and you know, just really loved the craft, and ran into a English professor that taught me how to do it properly, right? How to like properly describe things where people, it's like, I always say, it's like walking up to a tree of pears, picking a ripe pear off a tree and taking a bite out of it. That's how easy it should be to digest what you're creating and doing, right? I've always kept that at the front of my brain. So whenever I'm doing something, it has to be that simple um, to digest. And I will say, it wasn't an easy road. There was a lot of trauma, there's homelessness, there's a lot of things that I had to go through as a creative to arrive at this place. But as the old Black people say, I wouldn't take nothing from my journey now. I'm able to walk fearlessly into things that a lot of people are terrified to walk into. Once you've hit rock bottom, ain't nowhere to go but up. So
Mm-hmm.
everything else is just what it is, but having a great love for art, for writing, for creating, having a huge imagination and having a outlet like acting or writing for that, it's just been an absolute blessing. So I'm grateful for it. And having an entrepreneurial spirit as well. I've never believed that it would make sense for me to create art and then give it to someone else to make all the money off of it.
Yes.
I desire to own everything that I do. I'll license the hell out of it, but the IP stays with me. And so that's how QFN TV was born. Actually, 10 years ago, when Comcast had opened up their networks for minority ownership, they were going to offer 10 network stations. They came out the first round with, they were going to do 3 the first year. I submitted myself because why the hell not? What do I have to
Right.
lose? But I didn't realize I was up against P. Diddy, Magic Johnson. So I was like,
Oh,
oh, and when they called me, it's like, oh my God, Kanithea, we love your idea. But Magic is here. And I'm like, his name is Magic. So yeah, that's pretty much what you're going to do. His money looks way different from mine. So I completely understand that. But they didn't come back around with the other networks, which was a blessing for me
mhm.
because, Netflix was born. And then you have like the internet as an OTT streaming platforms as an option to put content out there where I'm not having to cover 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of something being on the air. This is a much better suited for me. So when this opportunity came up, I jumped on it, without hesitation. So yeah, and I have to give it up to KL and her group because they were the ones who kind of let me be aware of the opportunity and also connected me with their connects, which allowed me to bring this thing to life. So yeah,
Beautiful. You know what?
yeah.
I have to turn on another light. Give me a second. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. But this is what happens when wrinkles get thrown into your. But it's all good though, because I'm sitting there saying of the lighting's off. But you know what? So let's talk about that because you started out doing theater,
Mhm.
but then you moved into doing films. Why did that? Why did it happen that way?
Well, I love theater. Went to school in the acting scholarship, loved it. It was my it's where you come. There's nothing better than being on stage under a hot blue light and your audience just outside of your reach. There's nothing more exciting than that to me, and hearing the oohs and ahs. But what I found it to be was a little confining. I was confined to the walls of the theater. My imagination was much larger than that. I wanted to add more depth to my characters and switch up scenes and all that jazz. So film was the only way that I could do that. I had some friends of mine that were diving into film. We were all like little Black creatives. We had like one camera. My friend Preston had like one camera. We had a dude that knew how to edit. I knew all the actors. So I'd send them over there. But when I got into that, it was just everything opened up. The world was mine, and I love theater to this day. That's just like my first love. But film just gives me legs, man. I can run in that. I can create whole worlds in that. And it's just amazing. There's nothing more beautiful than that to me. So, yeah.
It is beautiful. And you were describing a story when your mom took you to see Star Wars,
Oh, man.
which is I watch Star Wars every time it comes on TV.
Mhm.
And my wife's like, "Are you seriously watching that again?" And I'm
Right,
like,
right.
"Yes, I am."
Mhm,
So the way you described after seeing Star Wars
mhm,
and wanting to do that for yourself.
mhm. Yeah,
Let's talk about that a little bit because again, you said, theater is phenomenal, but there's something about making a film and
mhm.
being able to go anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Outer worldly. That's just I'm not confined to Earth, you know? I mean, that's what's so fascinating about creating, and having an imagination. It's whatever you just I'm just making stuff up, like, and it could be the most ridiculous stuff. Like, I'm working on a new project now that takes place in 962 AD. Um, and it takes place under a total eclipse, where the
Oh,
sky is
wow.
this awkward color orange. It's weird as hell, but I love every bit of it. I have the opportunity to create that world in film. You know, um, Theaters, I love it. No, and you can do some amazing things, but film, man, I could zoom it in and I could focus my audience and train and tell them what to focus on, where to look at. In theater, everything is open.
Right,
You have people talking, but I'm distracted because his costume is amazing. And if you got a great actor that knows how to steal scenes, then they're stealing that entire scene from the
right,
people that are acting. But in film, I can zoom in on that character and show the depth and hurt and pain or whatever they're feeling, and that's just extraordinary. Like, I love that. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that.
Now, you know what you just described, the film that you're working on,
Hmm.
it kind of has an Octavia Butler flavor.
Okay.
You know,
Yes. Okay. I can. Yeah.
that she was the when you described,
Hmm.
you know, the the sky being a different color,
Hmm.
it reminded me of her books.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've read Octavia. She's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Because
I
I'm
very
big on
well
science
said.
fiction. I'm big on
Yeah,
science fiction, and she's just amazing. But you just basically took me right to her, and see that is the amazing thing about film,
it is, it
that
is,
it can totally take you somewhere,
right.
and you're sitting in your living room.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like almost equivalent to books. Books are beautiful, almost like radio shows to me. It's like,
Yes,
it's a collaborative experience where the words are there, the characters are speaking, but it requires that you use your imagination. So if you've got three kids on the floor listening to a story about a superhero, that superhero looks different to all three of those children. They've
yes.
created their own worlds and what they look like, all completely different. I love that about books, radio, and I love that about film as well, because what the director, the writer intends to put out there isn't necessarily what the audience receives. They may see it from a completely different lens based on their experiences.
Yes.
So it becomes this collaborative thing, where it looks like this, but oh, you see it this way. And so the product just continues to grow, the art continues to grow. And I just think that's so beautiful about art. Like, uh, it's just like the ultimate, and filmmaking, of course, is the ultimate collaborative experience. It takes so many people to bring a project to life, So I think it's just, yeah. I
So
love.
you start making films,
Mhm.
award-winning films.
Yeah.
What's that process like? Because most often people just say, "Hey, I want to shoot,"
Mhm.
and then that's it.
Mhm.
But from listening to you talk in other interviews and reading up on you, you approach it entirely different
Mhm.
because and listening to you on Clubhouse,
Mhm.
where you're talking about being very prepared and
Mhm.
having everything lined up
Mhm.
so that your project can be a successful one.
Right. Right. I mean, filmmaking is hard enough. And if you're not prepared, you're just making it harder for yourself. Like, there's so many things out there, so many books, so many guides to help you in this process. Just do the work. It's called pre-production for a reason. you know, get the script right, get that hammered out to where I write the things that I do for the most part. So I'm a different person when I'm writing. I'm just a writer. I exist in that space. You know, um, I act out all the parts. If I believe it, then I know my audience will believe it. You know,
Yes.
it's hilarious. But the times when I'm just talking to myself, my friends are like, "What the hell?" But I'm like, when you see it, you'll understand. You know, but yeah, just operating in that space as a writer and giving everything I have to give over to that process. And allowing that to live and be the best that I can make it. Once that's locked and solid, I'm moving into like, okay, now I'm a director. Who's my DP? Who's my crew? Like, what look do I desire to create for this? I like to layer my things. It's not just a film, a flat people. No, there's always something quirky and crazy. Like the sky is a different color and the atmosphere is challenging. There's a big blue guy. It's whatever the case may be, it's always something a little different, which I love. Not afraid to do that, but making sure I have the right people in the right place in order to bring this thing to life, but also giving them the tools to be able to do that. So my DP gets every shot that I intend to shoot on set. We walk those locations if we have the opportunity to do so and see where we can set things up. We run rehearsals in those places. And then even my light person, I lay out all the light design that I desire for my film and then send him examples of what that looks like. So when we're on set, you know exactly what I want. You got the lights in the truck. We're going to pop them in. We're not wasting time and we can make our day. Audio, the same thing. You got bad audio, you got a bad film. So I need to make sure we have the proper tools in order to make sure that our audience has the opportunity to hear us. Actors rehearsed, stunts performed, or like we got the proper tools and safety in place. The whole thing is providing my audience the opportunities to just enjoy the product. I don't want you to be ejected from the experience because you can't hear it or because something's a little off or it's out of focus or whatever. No, I want you there. I want you engaged. I want you to feel every part of that story and just go on this journey with me. And in order to do that, you have to be prepared so they aren't ejected from the experience. So, yeah.
Now, and then that's beautiful. And the reason I titled this "How to Harness Your Gifts,"
Mhm.
because
Which I love.
everything. But you know what? And I'm gonna tell you where I got that from. I got it from listening to you on someone else's podcast
Really?
talking
Oh,
about
that's
your
what's
gifts. Shakisha.
Oh, Shakisha. Oh, yeah, I love
Yes.
Shakisha Lightboy. They're great.
And
They're really
I was listening to that podcast again,
fun. Mhm, mhm,
and you talked about using your gifts,
mhm.
and basically everything that you just described is using your gifts and using the gifts that your crew possesses,
Right.
but being the type of director that is able to pull those gifts out of people, because you know what, sometimes people don't even know
Mhm.
that they have something.
Right, right, right.
So talk about that when you're on your set,
Mhm,
and you've been doing this for quite some time, so you're pretty damn good at it, and
mhm,
the proof is in the resume.
mhm,
When you're working with someone and you know that that gift is there,
mhm,
but they may be a little hesitant for whatever reason,
mhm.
how do you, as a director on your sets, how do you go about pulling that out of everybody, the crew, the camera, the lighting, all of that, to get the absolute best that you can from everyone on your set?
Okay, so the first thing for me is, Imma pay you. So you're not coming here pissed off because you're not getting paid. So first things first, I'm gonna put some money in your pocket. Secondly,
That's a
you
big one.
are right, right. You're really great at what you do, and that's why you're here. I just need you to provide you with the tools so you know exactly what I want. Like, I'll take my lighting guy, for instance, Vasily. That dude lit the hell out of humanity.
Hmm.
It is a beautifully lit film. But he was able to do that because I provided him with the information he needed and the time he needed in order to bring that to life. It's not a last minute thing. You've got this ahead of time. You know what tools and things you need to bring with us in order to accomplish that look. So providing people with the proper tools, number one. Number two, like having a good AD. I can't stress that enough. You need a good AD to keep moving these guys along. But I'll say with my one situation with my actors. So I had one actor on my set and she was getting really flustered because she, for some reason, kept like fumbling over the line. And for me, as a director, it doesn't make sense to walk up to you and yell and do crazy stuff. You're going to shut down. You're not going to give me what I want. So, what I normally do in all those types of aggressive situations, I stop production. I walk over to my actress and I get in her ear and I speak to her in a very calm tone and let her know that you already got the job. You're sitting in the costume, you're on set, all these lights and cameras are already here waiting on you. All you have to do is perform. And that's something you can absolutely do because you wouldn't be here if you couldn't. So let's just take a breath, take a minute, and then we'll start again. Let me know when you're ready. She came back, gave me the best performance she gave. But also with that, I often forget that my sound guy is always listening because she's mic'd. And even though I'm talking close to her, I'm thinking it's just a conversation between her and I. But Cameron, this tall white guy, is just the calmest, sweetest guy I've ever met on a set. He's just so cool. And he comes up to me after and he says, I love the way that you speak to your crew and your actors. It's so calming. It's so uplifting. It's so positive. It's like, I love that. How you carry yourself on set. They know that, for lack of better words, I'm the HNIC. I make that very clear. You're not just going to come on my set and run anything. That's my job. Mm-hmm. I allow you to do your job. I'm not going to tell you how to put that light in that little thingy. You're going to do that because that's what you do, right? So I'm going to stay in my lane. You're going to stay in yours. And we're all going to make this thing work. And we're going to do it right together, right? So respect. I'm going to pay you, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do your best work because that's what you're here for. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
It does. And I was listening, I can't remember what I was listening to, but they talked about believing in someone. Mm-hmm. And when you let them know that you believe in them, amazing things happen. Powerful. So I'm sure that when you were speaking to that young lady, mm-hmm. and she knew she could do it. And sometimes, and we all get flustered. I've been on sets. I've been on commercial sets where we got to stop because I need to collect myself. Now, no one's ever come over to me and gave me that kind of talk because I was sitting here getting fired up and emotional at the same time because I'm like, I'm ready. I haven't acted in 10 years, but I'm ready to go. But when you just have that belief in someone, because it's infectious. Right. And so you're talking to her, but your sound guy hears that, mm-hmm. and he's like, this is going to be the best damn sound she has ever gotten out of. Because you know what? She expects my best because she knows that I can deliver it. Right. And when you can impart that type of feeling on a set, mm-hmm. magical things can happen. Yeah.
It can, man. And it did. Like we had some great, there's a kitchen scene in my, in Humanity that is like wicked. Like it is gut wrenching. The actors, they showed up and they were committed to it. And when you have actors that show up that are committed, your director's committed, you got a good crew with you. All it takes is one good take and everybody's like, okay, so we're going to do this again. I got an idea. So if we put this, it inspires people and giving them the freedom to, my DP, Sam, who was just awesome. He is doing some amazing stuff in the industry along with women behind the camera as well. So Sam shot it. He is just, you need a good Ari cameras. That dude is the guy. I love him, and he's well educated on his equipment. But giving him wings as well to say, like, hey, I have an idea. I don't know how this, look, so what you think about it, you don't have to do it, but what if we kind of like, blah, 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 you know,
Mhm.
they're behind the camera. I'm looking at a screen, you know, and, you know, giving them the opportunity to say, okay, well, I got an idea about this. Do we have time to try it? And if we do have time to try it, hell yes, let's see what it does, you know, appreciating and valuing their opinions um, to a certain extent. I will say that. And if we have time to try something new, um, let's give it a shot. So you're just as a part of this project as I am. So let's make it the best we can. If you have a way to make it better, and we have time to give it a shot, let's do it. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very phenomenal point that you brought to the fore, valuing their opinion to a
Mhm.
point. Because what you don't want to happen is people thinking that it's their set and it ain't
No,
your set.
no. You know, like I said, Floyd, I shut that down real quick. You
Mhm.
know who's running the set when I arrive. I'm not, you know, I'm a professional. I expect you to be professional. You know, I don't ask anything of anyone that I'm not willing to do myself. So we're gonna joke, we're gonna laugh, we're gonna get these shots up, we're gonna run it. It's gonna be good, but you know not to cross that line with me. I make that very clear. I have no problem getting you off my set.
And you know what? And that also, I, ladies and gentlemen, please take notes, because what she just said will put everyone that is working on your set at ease
Mm,
if they know that there is one captain of the ship.
that's it.
Because if people sense that you are not in charge and you are not running things,
Mhm.
chaos ensues, because everyone's running around doing their own thing, because
Right.
they're saying, well, shit, Kanithea is not in charge. So why, I'm not listening to her. So what she said, go ahead, yeah, whatever, you know. So
Right.
it's extremely important to keep a tightly run ship. But you
Mhm.
were saying,
No, I was just gonna say, also being a woman, that
yes.
plays a big role in it, especially if all of your crew are dudes. You know, I tend to get along better. Well, I get along with everybody for the most part. You know, I'm a pussycat, but I remember being on one of my earlier films, earlier sets, 2 minutes 2 seconds actually, and I had a DP, and I like a DP that want to be a DP.
Mhm.
I'm not looking for a DP that want to be a director, that want to be a light guy, that want to be a sound guy. I'm looking for a DP. I want you to master that. And that's where I want you to exist. Like, and just because you're a female, they think that you're kind of weak or you don't. I'm just like, dude, come on, man. There comes a time like it's not your film, it's my film. I've
Right.
hired you in this space. Allow me to do my job. And then I had to release him, because it was just like, dude, we're losing time and days with this. So being a woman on set, it's very important to establish your leadership, the way that you lead, and let them know that this is your thing. Or sometimes it gets out of hand. I had one dude show up, like, for lack of, and forgive me for saying it, he showed up every day like his period was on, and I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on here?
She said that, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't.
What is going on with this guy?
Wow, really?
So crazy. It was just emotional. Just what? And come to find out, he really wanted to be a director, and had just gotten kicked off of a set as a director, and it just brought all that energy to mine. And I'm just like, this guy's wild. It's like everybody's really kind and nice. We're having a good time. This dude is just like, it was just insane. And not till the last day, almost the last shot, he's like, well, you're a good director. And I was just like, first of all, we're looking for your validation, but okay. It was just so, God, you get all types. It's crazy, but having to shut him down and letting him know that you don't come on my set and talk to anybody any kind of way.
Right.
That's not going to happen, because yeah, but I've learned and I've grown, and I'm so happy for those experiences because I get to take all of that into new things, and communicate better, respond better, and just hopefully create a better environment for my team.
But you know what? Okay. I was listening to, or I was on Instagram, and Fat
Mhm,
Joe. It was some type of they have dudes in a barbershop talking,
mhm.
and Fat Joe said the problem is people don't know how to play second.
Right. They don't.
And the guy was like, "Oh, yo, yo, yo." He was like, "No." He said, "People don't know how to play second." He said, "That's the problem." He said, "If you're a mechanic, be a mechanic. If you're
Mhm.
a barber, be the barber." And
Right.
he went on to explain how when he was rolling with his brother, I guess when they were doing other things,
Mhm,
he said his brother was in charge. So
mhm.
he would open the door for his brother. When his
Yeah.
brother stepped out the car, he would be one step behind his brother.
Mhm. Right.
But all of that he was learning.
Mhm.
And
Right.
here's the thing, and it's oh gosh, I think it's John Maxwell
Mhm.
says leaders follow.
Mhm.
So if you want to be a good leader, learn to follow. So
Exactly.
this young man is on your set,
Mhm.
upset because he's not a director. So how
Right.
about this? You're on set with a consummate director. You're on set with an experienced director. You're on
Mm.
set with an award-winning director. How
Mhm.
about this? You watch and you learn
Right.
so that you know how to do it the right way,
Right.
so that when that opportunity comes up again for you to be a director, you know what the hell you're doing.
I am always willing to sit at the foot of someone that is doing something that I desire to do, that are doing it better than me, that are doing it, period, that are, I'm there for the experience, for the journey, for learning. I'm always open to seeing a new way of doing something. How can I become better at what my craft? How can I create better experiences for the people around me? And being on other people's sets, you learn that. And I have no problem being not being the one in charge. I was on another film before I moved out here, and someone else was directing it. I came on as a producer, but it was a small set. We were just trying to give this other person an opportunity to direct. And I did props. I did some other stuff. But the thing was, like, I jumped in where I could help. You're overwhelmed with this. I'm gonna go pick those props up for you. Oh, you don't have this kind of person? I'm gonna set the car for you. I set the hell out of that car. It looked like a child was in that, had existed in that car. Like, I was proud of that. I'm behind the scenes taking pictures of where everything is for continuity because I didn't see anybody else doing it. So when the director had a question, okay, great. She was a new director. This was her first time, so she didn't know everything or have a lot of experience in it as directing. She's been on the other side of the camera, but taking those pictures. Oh, was that door open? Here's the picture. Yes, the door was open right here for this particular scene. Any way I can make the set run smoother, be better in my particular role, whatever that is, I'm going to do that. I don't always have to be at the top. That's not how you get better at things. That's not how you learn how to do or how not to do things. I can sit back and watch and say, okay, so I know that that was the wrong response. So when I get confronted with that, I know how to do that better. Okay, and this, that, and the other. I mean, people have to learn how to do that. Everybody want to be the chief. They want the big head dress. You don't even know how to put it on. What you doing? Just sit back and learn a little bit. Even when you are at the top of your game, there's always an opportunity to learn something. When you approach things as the learner in a situation, you always win. You always win.
And here's the thing, the chief wasn't always the chief.
Chief wasn't always chief.
Chief wasn't always the chief, ladies and gentlemen. The chief was the underling at one time, learning from the chief. And when the chief was ready to become the chief, they became the chief. But they
Exactly.
had to learn how to be a chief.
Right. You, yeah,
Again, leaders follow.
they do. They
Leaders
do.
follow. Good
Mhm.
leaders follow.
They do. Right.
They really do. But let's switch gears
Okay.
because you wrote this little old book.
Oh, yeah.
that's in how many countries and how many stores now?
23 countries, sold all over the world. Um, there's something beautiful about an idea. I love ideas. They're like my favorite thing. First of all, they choose me often. I love that because when an idea wants to come to life, it knows where to go. I appreciate that because I'm one of those people that, oh, that's interesting. You remember the last time you had an idea? It's like it came to you. What comes to me is like a quiet voice when I'm very comfortable, very at ease, when I'm in a place to receive it, right? It's like a whisper. It's like, ooh, well, that's interesting. And the first thing I do is, that is interesting. And then you go and research. An idea never fully reveals itself to you, right? It's only going to give you enough to make you curious about it. And then you're going to do the work. And like an onion, it unveils itself to you, right? As you continue through the process. Um, Butch was like that. Everything I do is pretty much like that. It's like, here's something somewhere like, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. And then I'm off in my own little world doing whatever it is. But Butch had been something that I had experienced myself, being somewhat masculine at times, but put me next to a really masculine person, you're like, you're not masculine at all. So just being in the middle and kind of like, okay, who gets to define that? What does that look like? And my whole goal with that book was to redefine what butch really meant. Just because, I look like this, I can still fall into that category. And I love high fashion. I'm always in a cute shoe in a high water something, with big hair. And that was an opportunity to put that on display with beautiful women that I knew in the industry. So I was driving back from a photo shoot, I think in Baltimore or something. I was in DC at the time, and I was talking with a friend of mine. I was like, I got this idea, and I kind of want to do it. She was like, oh my God, yes, I know just who we can get. So by the time we got back to DC, we had my makeup person, my hair person, my stylist, and about a handful of models. We shot over the course of a weekend in my friend's living room, and
Mm.
we had like the backdrop in the living room. Like Leah was in the kitchen doing makeup, a Pooja in the hallway doing style, Courtney in the bathroom doing hair, and we just had this like assembly, like this line of just models coming through and all these things, and it was magic, and you felt the energy of it when you were there. And again, back to being prepared. I had a notebook of what I wanted my book to look like before I even created my book. So I had like these, what do you call it? Like those composition folder, little notepads.
Yes.
And I covered the front. I put the cover on it, the picture that I wanted. Every page in that composition book represented a page in my book. So when I went to lay it out, I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted it to look. Every word, every image, everything laid out prior to. I mean, you save yourself so much. And when you can actually see the product before the product is completed, you know where you need to make shifts and changes, what works, what doesn't work. I mean, I love that. I love that. So that made it so much easier for me to lay this book out, which I did myself, and then hooked up with some people in China, and they
Mm.
printed the book. They did a lot of high end model magazines and like Vogue and all that stuff. So it was very, very interesting because their English wasn't really good, but they were committed and they loved it. And they sent me all the examples of what it looked like prior to getting it out and finalizing the product, sent it to me on a slow boat, and I had my book. I have never felt more joy and excitement when than when I'm opening up my first box of books to hold it physically in my hand. It was amazing. There's something to be said about having an idea, following through with it to completion, and getting a product in your hand. Now you allow the world to come in and help you promote it,
Hmm.
help you get it out there. Because when you create something beautiful, the world is just as excited about it as you are. But they can't promote it if you don't complete it. So I'll say if you're going to start something, see it through to completion.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, when you start something, see it through to completion. That allows the universe to step in and help you Get it out there. Give it to the world. Make your money. Send out your stuff. Sit on podcasts and all those things that you desire to do. It allows you to do that. But you got to finish it. So many people are sitting on ideas and dreams that they 20, 30 years on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Complete it. It's great that you wrote that book. But if you didn't print it off and give the world an opportunity to hear it and read it, why are you just wasting time and talent? What's the point of that?
Mm-hmm.
Get beyond the fear, get beyond the exposure that you're not comfortable with, and just put the work out there. People are waiting to hear from you. You've been given that gift for a reason. There's somebody out there in the world that needs what you have to offer as encouragement, as motivation, as representation, to have the courage to step out and do what they have to do. And you don't know what that person's going to bring into the world. So do your part. You have a gift, use it. Complete the process, which is simple. Give that person an opportunity to bring something beautiful into the world as well.
And that is so important.
Yeah.
Just take action. And you know what I ask people? I ask people this all the time. What is the worst thing that could happen?
Right. Right.
Because let's talk about that. As of right now, you're sitting on something and nothing is happening. But if you complete it and release it,
right,
something may happen.
Right.
You know what? I think about this often. If I were to go to Wall Street right now and say to a Wall Street investor, here's something that I'm going to give you, and you have a 50% chance of making millions.
Oh,
they would jump on it in a second.
Own it.
But interestingly enough, so many people won't take those odds.
No.
Because it really does have a 50% chance of working.
Right.
And I said something a couple of weeks ago. I can make a 100% guarantee. They said never guarantee anything. I said, but I can guarantee this, that you will 100% fail if you do not start.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
But if you do something, there is the possibility that it might not work or it might work.
Right.
But here's the thing: if it doesn't work, you throw away what didn't, you keep what did, and you build on that.
Exactly. Exactly. It's science. Science. You know, like, oh, we're going to go in this lab. We're going to cook some stuff up. We're going to come out to the world and we're going to test it. Some parts are going to pass. Some parts are going to fail. We're going to take that, go back into that lab, make some adjustments, come right back out. Eventually, through the process, you will end up with something that you desire to have, right? But if you're not willing to put in the work, to accept people call it failure, I call it research, I call it testing. It's just data. You know, you gave me a thing that didn't work that way. Okay, so I need to do something else. That's all that is. We put so much around failure or those. There really isn't a thing. It's just like you've never done this before. Like, you've never done it. How are you going to be perfect at it? How is it going to be 100% right? It's not. It's just not. And I don't know why we've created this environment where it has to be perfect. It has to be this. It's like, no, I'm divorced from that. I'm here for the journey. Who do I become during the process? That's the most thing that's important to me. What have I learned and who have I become as a result of it, right? I'm not married to the end thing. You know, it's just like, oh, okay, so my goal was to follow through this process, stay on target, make it as beautiful as I can, do the best I can with what I have with where I am. And if I did that, okay, I can always go back and make it better. Same thing with the platform. You know, it's just a place to start. Everyone's like, oh, well, we're the blockbusters and this, that, and the other. They paid $70 million for that film. Like, that's going on Netflix, boo, or Amazon. It's not coming to QFN yet. Now, I'll get it when it's gone through its cycles, you know, at this particular point, because I'm just starting. When you think of companies like a Netflix, when they first started, they were selling what, 30% of their company for $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was just a place to start. They didn't start out as Netflix. They started out as something else, actually, and then grew into Netflix. People don't want to give people time to grow into a thing. They expect it, that instant gratification. Baby, this is not Instagram. This is life.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Instagram ain't even real. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to start here. I'm going to continue to build, make relationships, network, get access to bigger libraries, and eventually I'll get there. So,
And that is so true, because I'll just take Jeff Bezos.
mm-hmm.
You
Dude was
see,
in his
ladies and
garage.
gentlemen, he was in his garage, and then the man is a multi-gazillionaire. I can't even
Right.
pronounce what he is.
Yeah.
Every journey, as you said, every journey has a beginning.
Right.
And here's the thing about wanting to get to the end so quickly. Where you start is rarely where you end up.
Right. Exactly.
Because I've started some things and then things happened. Brenda
Mhm.
Gilbert put up a post a few weeks ago, and she was like, the road to success. And it was an arrow. It went straight for like a hot second, and then it squiggly lines all over the place.
Right.
And everybody was liking and saying, girl, you ain't never lied, because
Right.
that's what your journey is.
Right.
Your
It
so-called
is.
journey to success.
Right.
And to the point of failing, the Dyson vacuum,
Mhm.
5,000 prototypes.
Listen.
Come on. Thomas Edison said, I found out 10,000 ways how to
It
not
didn't work.
make a
Right.
light bulb.
Right. Right. Right.
He didn't consider them failures. He just said, oh, I figured out 10,000 ways that this doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
So it's all about the lenses that you're looking through and your mindset.
Mhm. Mhm.
It really is. It's a mindset, because if you're looking at it, oh man, I can't, and that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Then absolutely, you're right.
Yeah.
It won't.
Exactly.
But it won't
And,
work
and,
if
and
you
I
don't
think,
do it.
and I think that's the biggest thing too, your mindset. If that's not in the right place, and I mean, we all have our little things and a little speech that we talk to ourselves. And I mean, kill that negative nagging voice. It's not serving you at all. Like that's, and I'm going to pause here to say something really quickly.
Please.
I had like, my nagging voice was crazy. She would say the most outrageous stuff. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Who is that? Like, is that me? Like, what is that voice? And I went on this journey to kill her, because she definitely needed to die. But also love myself enough to be gentle, to be loving, and to be kind with it, right? So I would write myself love letters. I had a little blue journal, and every day I'd go to a place that was quiet and I'd write myself a love letter. And the only requirement that I had is that I spoke to myself as though I was truly in love with me.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, the practice of just loving on me and doting on me and really speaking to me in the most loving fashion, she died. She was no competition to the love that I was willing to give and show myself. She couldn't stay there. She had to leave. And that is such a beautiful practice that I share with everybody that I talk to that's interested in, killing that negative voice and loving themselves more. Write yourself letters. Love on you. Take care of you. Be gentle with you. We are all out here trying to figure this thing out. Nobody has all the answers, but beating yourself up and not having a proper mindset walking into new ventures, you're going to kill it before you even start. So get your mind right.
And that person, and here's what I need people to understand. First of all, you really do need to watch what you say to yourself, because you're
Right.
listening. You're listening.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are real.
Mm-hmm.
You may not believe it, but folks, those negative forces are absolutely real. I'm studying to be a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they're talking about is thoughts
Manifestation.
never die.
They don't. They
They
don't.
never die.
Mm-mm.
Everything from the beginning of time is still floating around
Yep.
in the ether. And that sometimes, depending on which frequency you're vibrating on, high or
True.
low,
Yep.
you could be sitting there and a thought pops into your head out of nowhere
Yep.
because you're operating at a low vibrancy
Yep.
or a low frequency,
Mm-hmm.
or a thought could pop in your head because you're vibrating at a high frequency.
Right.
And you really have to train yourself to
Mm-hmm.
think and stay at a high frequency, because those negative thoughts are real, they're tangible. They've done studies on it. I mean, just look at how someone who always thinks that there is a problem to every solution, look at how their life is, as opposed to
Because
someone who thinks there's a solution to every problem.
that's your vibration.
Yes.
The universe operates and gives you what you're vibrating. If you believe there's a problem to every solution, the universe is like, all right, bet,
Okay.
roger that. So now I'm going to show you every problem to every solution. You know, vibrating, manifestation, all of that is a constant practice and study. You know, we are human beings. It is impossible to always vibrate high, but
Yes.
rooting yourself um, and having those positive things in place for when you acknowledge the fact that you are vibrating low. That thought comes in, and it's like, I feel like our brain is just our brain. It's just monkey brain. It's just like, oh, you smell that? Oh, remember when you was 2 and you was in the kitchen and your mama slapped you across the room? You're welcome. That's how your brain works. It's just proud of itself for bringing back any thought, any emotion, any feeling or experience that you had. What it just likes connecting things, right? So my brain is just like all over the place sometimes, and it's just like, wait, and I make a point to say, no, we're going to be right here,
Yes.
right now. And I tell my brain, thank you, but I don't need that thought right now. Thank you so much. Good job. I don't need that thought right now. We're going to release it. And then just root it with positive affirmation, something that is able to take me out of that feeling and emotion, that vibration, and start me on the trek up. One of those is everything is working out for me always and always. Everything is always working out for me. I literally say that to myself a million times a day because I got to calm down. I got to breathe, and my brain is it's just active, So
Yes.
understanding that, rooting yourself in something deeper, and placing a positive affirmation there that is something that matters to you, that you believe in, works. And even though you're at that lower vibration, you can root yourself in that and start the trek back up, which I think
Yes.
is so good and important. Yeah.
I'm going to have to steal that saying
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
and
Go
add
ahead.
that to the repertoire. But I
Right.
wanted to touch on your new streaming platform, QFN.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Having a conversation on Clubhouse, actually. And
Clubhouse.
on Clubhouse, I was talking in a room, and I was, forget what I was working on at the time, but, my whole thing was owning my IP, keeping it with me, um, and figuring out a way to make sure that people are coming to the hole for what they want. My hole, my watering hole. This is where you drink from, right here. And then speaking with KL and her partner, and they were like, "We love it. We love how you're talking about it. We have an opportunity." And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." They
Kisa
introduced
Puckett?
it. Yeah, what is her KL's
Is it
partner?
Kisa? Kisa Puckett?
Yeah, yeah. So I was trying to bring her name to the front of my brain. Yeah, so I met with them that Friday, and we had a great conversation. Introduced me to their person on Monday, and then by that following Friday, they were building my platform.
Wow.
So I am a person that when an idea comes and an opportunity comes, I jump, and I jump quickly, and I figure it out. I'm like, this is good. I like it. It felt good. Let's pull the trigger. Let's not waste any time. So that's what I did. Um, and it's so interesting when you're building something that isn't the norm. My friend told me, like, God, Kanithea, most people are trying to get on a platform, a network. You're building one. You're owning one. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I hate middlemen. I don't want to talk to those people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have this thing about since I moved to LA, I have experienced a few things, and I realized that LA is to me people with no abracadabra trying to tell everybody with magic what to do with it.
Mm.
And I mean, you're in these meetings, and there's always, it's a really great Black show, and it's good representation, and it's uplifting. It's how you, and the white guy will be like, you know what? I know what you need. You need a white guy. He's gonna come in there and he's gonna save everybody. I mean, that's great. That's what we need. And I'm like, really? Yeah. So getting tired of that type of conversation and those things, I think the only thing for me to do is to tread my own way. Like these people. So I used to work for a major organization before I say what I'm saying, and was number one in the world for quite a bit of time. I went to work for this organization, and the one thing I learned, I'm in these rooms, usually it's just me, person of color, woman, Black in this room, watching these white guys operate and do their whole thing. And you realize that these people are no smarter than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they're not really smart at all. And I'm like, you're here in this major organization working with 700, 800 million dollars for one project. And this is what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing I can't do. There's nothing I can't do. Every company, everything around us started with pure thought. Somebody had an idea, they wrote it down, they were curious about it, so they researched it, they reached out to some people that can help them bring it to life. They may not even possess all the talent required, but they knew somebody who had some talent to bring them in. You talk about Edison, my boy that I love, Tesla, he helped him do a lot of stuff. He wasn't out there by himself building light bulbs.
No.
So he had a great team, and I think they built that off the back of a Black guy. So
yes, they did.
Yeah, exactly. So again, everything a pure thought. Therefore, if you can think, you can create.
Mm-hmm.
What prevents me? What says to me that, oh, I have to create my art and only put it in these places?
Mm-hmm.
Because these are the only people that can give me my dream or what I want. No, they built their thing. What prevents me from doing that?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. So I'm going to research it. I'm going to get the data that I need, pull some people together. I'm very resourceful, honey. If I ain't learned nothing else from Kanithea Powell, I learned how to be resourceful. So I'm going to pull in the people that I love, that I know can do the job and help me get there, that are just as enthused about my ideas as I am.
Right.
And we're going to build it and see what happens. And that's it. That's it. Nothing is stopping me from that. Nothing except me. So if I get out of my own way, who knows what I can create? So here we have QFN TV. It's a place to start. You have some really great international films on there, films that I love. I watched every film that's on there. I'm excited about where it's going. We've got some new original works that we're looking to start production on the end of next year.
Oh, okay.
So we'll be providing some new, great, awesome originals, which I'm stoked about, that are really great shows. And we're just going to take one step at a time. I don't need to see a whole staircase, just a stair. If I can muster up enough courage to take that one little step, I'm going to figure it out on that step. And then I'm going to take the next one and the next one and keep going. There may be sometimes I fall back on a couple of
Mm-hmm.
steps, and that's okay because, that's life and it happens that way.
Oh, yeah.
But
Sometimes you have to sit down on the step.
listen, I've had some situations where I've had to sit down. It was a punch in the gut. And I don't know, in the street, in the house, on the stairs, wherever. I just had to sit. But, oh, God, who I became through that experience, though, was a woman that I was proud of. So I'm grateful for the sit down.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, I just got to ask you one more thing.
Mhm.
TED Talk.
Yes.
How did that happen? I was like, oh, and by the way, that was phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
That
That's
was
so kind.
phenomenal.
That's so kind. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Working for my major organization that I work with at the time, they would do TEDx events, and I was one of the most requested people to do a talk, which
Wow.
was very interesting. It's so interesting that whole experience with this company. Um, it was such a journey and transition for me. I was grateful for the opportunity. I did well at my job. Um, but as I started loving myself more, um, I also started building relationships with other people. We have these deep conversations, and I always met them from a space of love and understanding. And I was basically people's life coach and therapist on campus. It's,
Mm.
it's basically like, I don't think I've like during the latter part of my career, I really never ate alone. And
Oh,
everybody's like,
wow.
I need to get on your calendar. It was like, okay, what are we talking about? Does it work? No. Okay, so I got this situation and I just need insight on. I was like, this is
Mm.
hilarious. But through that, just lifting people up, you know? And they were like, we want you in this round. So I did the talk. Um, Absolutely took advantage of the opportunity. It was beautiful. The things that people would say, like the announcer was like, if anyone who knows Kanithea, she's going to lift you up. She's a good soul, and you're going to be moved by anything that she has to say to you. So I was like, that's a huge announcement to say before I walk on stage.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see
Thanks
what
for
we
that
do.
pressure.
Right, no pressure here.
Appreciate it.
Right, but giving that talk and speaking from my heart, my soul, and revealing things to people that in a professional atmosphere they didn't know.
Mm.
And that is vulnerability, right? And I was willing to step in that unapologetically, just like, this is me. I am not ashamed of me. I'm a creative. I've had ups and I've had downs, but I'm grateful for all of them, right? By showing my vulnerability and talking about my experiences, give everybody else permission in that audience and anyone listening to do the same. So when I walked out of the talk, um, they had a small break after that, and people just flooded. The theater was like over 400 people,
Mm-hmm.
and we had overflow, and then they broadcast it to all of the global campuses as well. Um, People just flooded and was like, we need a picture, we need to talk, blah, blah, blah. I love this. I felt so uplifted, people crying. And I was just like, oh, cool, great. I mean, it was just an overflow of emotion and just love for being willing to be vulnerable and honest. And I mean, after that, the amount of people that reached out to me from around the world it was just beautiful. And I felt so grateful and blessed to be able to say something and speak into people's lives. It was absolute blessing. It was the best thing that's one of the better things that have happened along my speaking career. You know, it was just beautiful. That was a beautiful moment for me. Yeah.
It was, and it was, because I love TEDx because I always learn something. And
Mhm,
and again, your speech was amazing,
mhm.
and you just have that calming effect on people. They
Right.
know that you are a safe space.
Right.
And I
Thank you for
think that is why, no, I know that's why
mhm.
people have no problem opening up to you because They know that whatever they say to you is safe. It's with
Right.
you. You're not going to be at the water cooler telling Bob
Right.
and
Right.
Susie about it.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing when people trust you enough with things that they wouldn't tell anybody else.
Right. You would not believe the things people say to me. Our first meetings, I was, oh, okay, right, okay. But also following that up with a question that hits you right in your core, that
Hmm.
lets you know. I get deep real quick with people. They're just like, oh, how long have you known? You guys have been friends forever. No, I literally just met this guy. So, which is hilarious. But it's important. What was that? My friend Miles. Miles. I think that's his name. He works with Gino. Um,
Miles Greer.
yeah, he always picks at me because he's like, Kanithea, whenever you're talking, you're right here. You're
Hmm.
completely focused on the person that you're talking to. The whole room just disappears. It's very intense. But I'm like, it's important for me that people know that they have my full attention. This moment right here, I'm giving this time and space to you. I love that. We don't get that. Everybody's so distracted. I'm right here with you in this moment, in this space. And you feel that you can ask me anything. I'm not going to beat you up. I'm gonna hopefully lift you up in some kind of way, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And it may not be a truth that you're ready to hear, but you know that you need
Hmm.
to hear it, right? So I love that. That's so awesome. That's a beautiful gift to give someone your attention, your time, your understanding, and your willingness to share this moment and hopefully help them get to another place, a better place. So I love
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close on that.
it.
But
Right.
what's next? What's next?
What's next? So I got an important pitch coming up that I'm working on. This new fantastical film that I want to do. So we're working on that, growing the platform as much as possible, and continuing to write and direct. Man, like I got that the new film coming up that's in 962 AD, which is fascinating. So I love history. History is one of my favorite things. So
Oh, mine too.
love if I
Ooh.
can incorporate that into a story some kind of way, it's great. I love it. So that's the biggest thing that I've got going on right now, um, is my new film and building this platform out so people can enjoy more cinema.
So, where can people find you?
QFN TV is the app. You can find on Google Play, Roku, Amazon Fire. It's on Apple as well. You can download it directly to your phone or devices. You can watch it on your screen on your computer as well as you have Roku and all that. You can watch it on your television as well. Um, yeah, QFNTV.com. You can find me on Quest Film, Instagram at Quest Films, and Facebook, plain old Kanithea Powell. So
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
yeah.
Well, Kanithea,
Mhm.
delayed, but it was an amazing. That is a podcast in and of itself. But
Um,
this was absolutely amazing. And Monica, thank you. So glad that you commented. I'm still learning this, how I'm talking and commenting at the same time. I have to learn how to do that. But thank you so much. But Kanithea, thank you so much. It,
mhm.
again, I love listening to you because I always learn something. And for me, that's what it's all about because I just love learning. And I like the fact that you like history.
I love
And I
history.
love the fact that you like shoes because those are two of my favorite things, history and shoes.
God, a good shoe. It's nothing better than that for
That
me.
makes your day.
Nothing better than that for me.
That I get very we oh see now we could be here for another hour and a half talking about the shoe game.
Right, right,
Because I love a good shoe.
right.
But I can't wait to see you guys because I'm coming out to LA.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yes, I am coming out to LA next month for the Mishu Film Festival, the
Uh-huh.
Michaud Film Festival. So
Okay.
I'll be out there for 7 days from the 11th of July to the 17th.
Hey, we got to connect, man.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. But again, I'm not going to take up any more of your time, but I appreciate you taking an hour of your busy day to sit down
Mhm.
and talk with me so we could share you with the world. And I
Mhm.
hope that everyone has learned something and is taking something valuable from this. Listen to it 3, 4, 5 times.
Right, right,
Really,
right,
really.
right.
And you can find us on all streaming platforms. We're on all the major streaming platforms. And what I'm so excited about with this new platform we're on, that we're now on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn as well.
Ah, sweet.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And that is it. We're going to have to talk about that story,
Yeah.
how this happened through really quickly. The reason that I'm on this particular platform is because I was doing Instagram Live and I
Mm.
did an interview with Stacey Greenwell and Keena Ferguson 2 weeks
Mm.
ago, and I lost it,
Oh, no.
and it was not backed up.
Mm.
So here I am, because I said I cannot have that happen again. So, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The failure or the setback was actually
The setup.
the setup.
Come on now.
So fail and fail often and fail forward. But again, Kanithea, do you have any closing words?
I will say that you create your world. You have the power. What are you choosing for yourself? If it's not serving you, be willing to let it go. I don't want to get wordy, but I want to say real quick, I love trees, and trees are, to me, are a best example of how life should be lived, right? A tree never eats of its own fruit. It digs itself down deep into the earth before it even presses through for stability. That means prepare yourself. Get ready for the life you're about to live. Get rooted in something deep that will sustain you. With the weight of the world on that seed of that tree, it will push through the soil and bring you a tree every time. You never find a tree that grows halfway and says, I'm good right here. A tree is going to grow as big as it can grow, produce every leaf, every branch, every piece of fruit, whatever its purpose is, it will do it without hesitation. If something obstructs its way, it simply finds its way around it and continues on its purpose. What is your purpose? What's hindering you from stepping into it fully, confidently? Let that go. Find a way around it and continue on your path. I'll quickly say that everything a tree produces, it gives away. Homes for birds, whatever, animals, whatever, wood, desk, whatever, it gives it all away. It's beautiful in the way that it's willing to let go of those things that no longer serve it. A tree goes through its cycle. It's going to hit a fall, it's going to lose everything. Branches, leaves, fruit, whatever, it loses it all. It goes through a very harsh winter, much like our own lives. After we have a fall, sometimes it's real hard to progress and get back up on our feet. But we do, because we know that spring is right around the corner and it'll give us the opportunity to produce again. Keep that in mind. Even though you fall, even though you lose everything, you'll have the opportunity again to get back up and produce and march towards success. I wish you the best in your life. Everything is working out for you. Remember that. And thank you for this time.
If I had a collection plate, I'd pass it.
I was going to say, the church doors are now open.
Wow. If you look, just the last couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen, was worth the hour. And Monica, I could not agree with you more. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have been blessed. This has been one of the best podcasts that I have ever had the privilege of doing.
Oh,
And
that's
I
so
am
sweet.
so grateful that you came on the show, and we are definitely going to have to come back. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself and Ms. Kanithea Powell, award-winning author, award-winning filmmaker, TEDx speaker, streaming platform owner, and just so many other things in her future. It's just so bright. Thank you for joining me on A Conversation With, and as always, love this like a hobby, but treat it like a business.
Amen.
Have an amazing, amazing night. All right, everyone. Take care.
Yes. Thank you.
Right.